Good morning, beautiful community. On behalf of Operation Rock and Rescuing the Community, I am Clayton back with another, I would say, informative podcast, motivational into domestic violence, intimate partner stalking, and the rights of victims with regard to law enforcement who may not honor our rights after we've been granted those rights by legal court entities. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes in the fight to rid yourself of an offender or fight for your rights, you will come across mountains of obstacles that seem unsurmountable. So many times we come across situations in our lives. There's situations that we are totally unprepared for. Being unprepared for a situation makes dealing with the situation 50 times more difficult, especially if it's a situation that requires a certain knowledge base that you have to learn and acquire. Because as we know as human beings, everything requires a learning curve. This is the case when you are involved in a intimate partner relationship or domestic violence. Domestic violence can be a horribly confusing field for someone who knows nothing about the process. First off, you're allowed they first off the courts allow people to do things to you with in a form called ex parte. Ex parte means that someone can get an order against you without you ever appearing in court, which makes the original attack of an offender or an intimate partner completely secretive because you never know that you're going to get an order of protection against someone who's lying on you until you're served with it. Take it from someone it's happened to. Domestic violence does need serious reform. But honestly, it can't be reformed because of all the danger that people who still are subject to domestic violence are suffering. Because there are true victims out there who do need the protections of the current domestic violence system the way it's set up. The problem is there are other people out there who have learned that domestic violence is so flawed that they can use the principles or the statutes and the laws surrounding domestic violence as tools to get vengeance on people. And this is what is damaging the domestic violence process in the United States of America. False offenders like my ex-girlfriend Francina Evans, who realize that they can use domestic violence to get vengeance on people who they may feel they hurt them. These ex parte orders get offenders like my ex girlfriend the power to walk into courts and lie on you and get away with it. And based off that lie, they receive resources and tools that'll help them further harass you. My ex did this to me on Staten Island, New York, that has a history of being inherently biased and racist towards minority men. I've had advocates from the DA's office of Staten Island actually lie to me and tell me that a federally protected order was invalid and unenforceable in the state of New York, for the reasons being that my offender in the district attorney's office, which is notably and historically corrupt on Staten Island, wanted to honor my offender to minimize my victimhood and to give the public the appearance that my conviction against this woman was uncredible. Now, they arrested me on May 16th of 2023, excuse me. My original case against my offender was actually won on December 1st of 2022. So on January 3rd, I made contact with the Staten Island DA's office to an advocate, Mackenzie Upshaw, who violated her capacities as a domestic violence advocate and lied to me as a victim and told me my order was unenforceable in the state of New York. This Mackenzie Upshaw knew that was not true because she reviewed the registered order from New York and she saw that I had the same order registered with all the protections under the stamp of the state of New York and the county of Richmond County, which made my order completely 100% legal, enforceable, and executable in the state of New York in the county of the county of Richmond, which is Staten Island. But because of bigotry, sexism, racism, and favoritism, which is what the office of the Staten Island DA's office is infested with, I was set up, locked out of domestic violence resources, and falsely prosecuted for a woman who has been determined over the last year to be a pathological liar. Yesterday, I appeared in court, and people, I have been so tired of my fight, people, that it has changed me. It has given me a maturity to finally allow me to acquire the knowledge and the tools I need to effectively fight the racist enemy of Staten Island's district attorney's office I am fighting. So I was able to articulate quite well, audience, what has actually happened in my situation. I was able to show proof in my offender's handwriting, police reports, body cam footage, and I was able to show a judge definitively within 7 days, within 7 days of winning an order of protection in the state of New York. My offender had filed 4 police reports on me and 2 New York violations, 6 retaliatory actions and all within 7 days of me winning an order of protection. Now, my offender was claiming the exact opposite. My offender was claiming that I, the one who had won the order of protection, was using the order of protection to harass her and quote unquote litigation abuse her. So the question I posed to the judge was the same question I posed when I originally won this motion 2 months ago in February, which is, Your Honor, if there is litigation abuse in play for Ms. Evans, then why is she not able to produce one report within 60 days? And the judge totally agreed and noted that from the last trial that my offender could not show one police report, one, that had been filed against her within 60 days of me winning the order of protection. Now, people of Staten Island, my offender has been in Mount Sinai Church under the protection of Victor Brown, who allowed her to get in front of a pulpit and tell you she was being litigation abused. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Victor Brown works for the NYPD. He's a police lieutenant who is basically sitting at the right hand of Michael McMahon, which shows you the unethical content of Victor Brown, because the DAA and a church pastor should not be that close, especially a church pastor who's not really law enforcement. But this Pastor Brown likes to sell out minority men. So because Michael McMahon is a racist who barters minority men for favors, of course, Victor Brown and him would be house nigga and master slave. And this is the situation that's going on between the corruption of Mount Sinai's Pastor Victor Brown and the Staten Island District Attorney's Office. So people after Staten Island was forced to drop my criminal charges because, again, they got a transcript that proved my offender was lying through her teeth. Pastor Victor Brown needed to reestablish her credibility. So what this man did was allow this woman to go before his church and tell everybody that I was lying on her. And she made a speech where she actually told the community of people that my mother hid from the community the fact that she had an order of protection against me and I was a diagnosed schizophrenic. And because of that, people, this church of people, a lot of people who I've known for years, no, he didn't. People, she's totally slandered the hell out of me. And people, every word she said in front of Mount Sinai Church was a lie. Now, the interesting part is that Pastor Victor Brown, a man of God, has not bothered to try to refute that lie yet. No, people, because Pastor Victor Brown is a snake. Pastor Victor Brown, along with Michael McMahon, is doing everything in their power right now to try to find something to set Clayton Howard up on. Because people, here's the truth. Clayton was angry and ignorant. Now Clayton's not ignorant. Clayton knows what happened to him. Clayton can prove what Staten Island has done to him over 4 years. And Clayton has Staten Island for a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. So yeah, people, I'll admit, honestly, I'm in hella danger right now. The corruption and the infestation of abuse and bias and sexism and favoritism and racism in Staten Island is on me. They are after me, and people, they are determined to get me. They called my attorney 2 days ago and threatened me for playing legitimate recordings and showing audio of representatives of that office lying to me, violating my constitutional rights and my protection under Article 23 of New York State Consolidated Law and the Violence Against Women Act, which made my law enforcement order, my order of protection, which was registered in the Domestic Violence Registry, it made it completely enforceable in New York. But people, Mackenzie Upshaw lied to me. The office of the DA's office lied to me, and I was angry. But I realized something one day. As I've told my audience, I really believe that my mom came to me from beyond. One night I had a dream and this woman talked to me. I haven't dreamed about her since she died 4 years ago. But one night, a couple of months ago, I finally had a dream about my mother. And she said, baby, learn your rights. I swear. People, I woke up that day and I started my quest to find out how I could articulate the wrongs that were done to me. Today, I sit before you confidently able to tell you that the Staten Island District Attorney's Office, along with Michael McMahon and the NYPD as tools for Francina Evans, violated my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment protections under the Constitution of the United States. They violated me under Article 23, Chapter 11 of New York State Consolidated Code. And people, they also violated my domestic violence rights under the Violence Against Women Act of 1994, which makes every order of protection presented to any law enforcement body in the United States of America enforceable in all 50 states. But Staten Island was hoping I was just a dumb black man who didn't read and who didn't open a book. And unfortunately for you, I had a mother who was incredibly intelligent and she always encouraged us to read. So in her passing, in her death, posthumously, the lessons she has taught me are oozing back out. So now the Staten Island DA's office has a problem because I'm not a black man who's afraid of white people. I'm not afraid of racists. I'm not afraid of bigots. I'm not afraid of sexist people. I ain't afraid of nobody. Ain't no fear in me. I'm not afraid to talk against the district attorney's office because every word I'm saying is the truth. My rights were violated as a victim of domestic violence, as a victim of a crime. My Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment rights were violated by the Staten Island District Attorney's Office. I have filed federal tort action against them, known as 42 USC 1983, which is what you use to remove prosecutorial immunity and hold these people responsible for unethical and illegal actions, which is exactly what they did to me. People Mackenzie Upshaw in the office ignore me. People I've called peacefully trying to you hear my conversation with Mackenzie Upshaw. People, there was no disrespect. People, I was pleading with this woman to help me, and she was lying through her teeth. People, that's what they do to me. They get on the phone, they lie through their teeth, and then they lock me out of the office. So, people, what choice did I have but to file this litigation? People, I am thankful to God that God gave me the intelligence, and He guided me on the journey to learn as much as I have about this federal, I would say, this federal tool to expose the corruption in the Staten Island DA's office. People, because they are corrupt. They think because they're in office and I'm one man with one voice, they're going to stop me. But people, I know there's other people out there like me who have been violated by the Staten Island DA's office, who have been totally falsely arrested, who have been racially profiled, who people have used connections they may have working on Staten Island to do horrible stuff to you. Because people, that's what the truth is, people. Staten Island is a fucked up place, excuse my language. And this is not to speak against the residents of the island, but you know where you live is messed up. You know law enforcement is corrupt. You know you got a bunch of advocates out there who are not truly for the people, who are truly trying to serve their personal ambitions. And how does serving your personal ambitions help the community, people? It doesn't. The only person it helps is them. Malcolm Penn, Iron Mike, they don't give a damn about the community, people. Why they not speaking up against the DA, people? Why they not speaking up against the things that really mattered? False arrests, false prosecutions of young men, young black men, young Hispanic men, young Pakistani men. Because the Middle Easterns, people, they are part of the community now. They are minorities. The Ox in the community, people, they hood people. They in the hood. They residents of the community. So everything that happens to them, that happens to you, happens to all of us, people. And at the end of the day, that's what we need to be concerned with. We don't need to side with a racist office with millions of dollars behind him, who literally use the infusion into minority groups just to take pictures with him to say, oh, we're not racist. District Attorney of Staten Island, prove you're not racist by stop violating the minorities on Staten Island. Stop arresting black men for false arrest. Stop having your officers charge them with more drugs than they caught with. Why don't you make some real programs in the community to teach these young men skills so you and your fucked up office can stop prosecuting innocent minorities, or minorities who may not have done nothing, who may not have done crimes as serious as the 5 to 10 years they get. People, with all due respect to my Caucasian friends, little white kids that get arrested on Staten Island get plays. Little black kids, though, little black kids go to jail. People, Staten Island is corrupt. And for Debbie Rhodes, Victor Brown, let me think of some more of these so-called advocates. Camilla Hanks, these people are not advocates. Why are they not saying anything against the most dangerous person on Staten Island, which is the racist who is Michael McMahon? Michael McMahon is the poison of Staten Island, people. He is not a good district attorney. Look how many innocent people have been set up. Staten Island is horrible, people. Staten Island is horrible since this man has took over. And it was worse with the last one, but people, he's no better. All he does is uses the resources of our community by pretending to be friends with Muslims, with Pakistanis, with black men. That man go home and put on his clan robe. He don't give a damn about my community. But people, I do. I was a victim of malicious prosecution. I was a victim of racism. I was a victim of the bias of the Staten Island DA's office. And people, that was wrong. They put an insurmountable mountain in front of me and thought just because I was black without resources and they were draining me financially with malicious prosecutions that they would get away with it. But people, they didn't count on one thing. They didn't count on the son of Reverend Maggie having a brain. And people, I do. So people, they're going to come for me. I already know it because they're mad. They're mad that I can expose the truth about that office. But people, it's too late. The federal tort has been filed. The content is here. People, there are dozens of lawyers looking at this situation now that are waiting for Staten Island to be stupid enough to try to arrest me. Arrest me for what? Arrest me for telling the truth, for you denying me resources, for falsely arresting me for something I never did. People, they're fucking stupid. Excuse my language. And you would think that they would be wise enough to realize, you know something, this girl is a criminal. This guy is not lying. This guy, we violated this man's right. You know what? Let's do the right thing. People, again, I showed you an email from the chief executive prosecutor of criminal court operations, admitting that Francina Evans was lying on me and promising me fairness, equality, and justice. Well, I say today, Darren Albanese of the Staten Island Richmond County DA's office, where is the justice, equality, and fairness that you promised Clayton Howard and John Rappaway on September 8th, 2003, when you told us you and Gabriella Giovinazzo would properly investigate and provide us with justice, equality, and fairness with regard to the prosecution of me in reference to Francina Evans? People, they dropped the case less than 6 weeks later. We sent them the email with the transcript on the 1st of October. People, by the 30th of October, they totally dismissed the case with no order of protection. That's key, because an adjudicated conditional discharge, people, there has to be a period in coordinates with CPL 170. There has to be a monetary period when you take an ACD to make sure that you don't do anything. People, the fact that they dismissed it and never left an order of protection on me shows how bad that girl lied and they wanted that case over, people. But why will Staten Island not charge her? I'll tell you why. Because they backed the wrong horse. The racist district attorney honored this chick, and now so they can save face, they keep allowing her to go to National Crime Victims' Rights Week and allowing her to walk in and out the office. Mind you, she's a convicted felon with multiple convictions against her. And people, all of that's in my 1983. So people, Staten Island thought they were going to create an unsurmountable resistance against me and violate my rights as not only the victim of this domestic violence order, but as the victim of a crime committed by Francina Evans. And I say today, people, they were wrong. The obstacles that law enforcement put in front of you can be surmounted. And yeah, it'll be difficult, people. But anything worth fighting for is going to be difficult. If you want something, people, the greatest things that you want in life that you will achieve will not be acquired easily. Anything worth something, people, takes work. My freedom is going to take work. The justice that I am commanding from the Staten Island DA's office is going to take work. And people, I have been infused with the energy from God to put that work in. District Attorney of Staten Island, I am going to put every ounce of work I can put in to prove what you did to me. You violated my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights. You violated protections under Article 23, Chapter 11 of New York State Consolidated Law, and you violated every domestic violence right I have from the Violence Against Women Act of 1994. And I'm going to keep citing the legal statutes that you violated. So you can come to me and put a criminal court case on me. People, I look forward to it. I beg you to do it, because I could just get more money for every fictitious bullshit prosecution you put on me, instead of just simply doing the right thing, prosecuting my offender, and making peace for the mistake you made when you arrested me on May 16th, violating my 5th Amendment protections against double jeopardy for a prosecution that was already adjudicated in Essex County, New York. People, the 5th Amendment protects you against double jeopardy or being tried for the same offense you were tried for twice. Why did Staten Island arrest me for a case that was recently tried in New Jersey and an offender lost? I don't know. But people, clearly they want to give me $20 million. So guess what? I'm going to take it on behalf of Operation Rock, people, and spreading the truth. The obstacles that law enforcement put in front of you, that people put in front of you, are just mountains to make you better people, victims. Don't allow law enforcement, don't allow evil people and fake advocates to make you think that the world is against you, because the world is against you, but God ain't against you. Use knowledge, use the brain. And if you don't have a brain, find somebody with a brain to help you. People, there's people out there like me who will help you for free. People, there are people out there who understand that victimhood is not singular to one person, and that people can lie to law enforcement and be victims. People, thank God I found people like that who believed in me enough after all of these videos and looked at the evidence that helped me come after Staten Island. People, I'm not done. Until Staten Island grants me the justice that I deserve, people, I'm going to be up here every day. I'm going to keep citing what they do to me. I'm going to create allies. I'm going to create rallies. And people, I'm going to fund an army to fight Staten Island's injustice, because that's what Staten Island did to me. They violated my constitutional rights. They violated my protections under New York state law. They violated my protections under federal law. People, how is that justice? How are they celebrating National Crime Victims' Rights Weeks when there is a minority male right in front of you who can prove 100% that they falsely arrested me for a woman who's at their National Crime Victims' Rights event? People, that's the corruption. That's the manipulation of the office of the prosecutor, which is supposed to be ethical. It's supposed to be an office we can trust. Bullshit. You'll never be able to trust the Staten Island District Attorney's office as long as Michael McMahon is the district attorney. People, I'm going to fight that man with everything I have to prove what Francina Evans did to me. It is personal. They lied on me. They set me up, and people, I didn't do this. So on behalf of justice and Operation Rock, people, we're going to fight the good fight, not just for me, but for every minority who suffers at the hand of oppression in institutions like Staten Island.